another dire warning from the United Nations on climate change. A new report says there is a rapidly closing window to avoid catastrophic warming, calling for urgent action to drastically cut greenhouse gases. Matt Ingram joins us live with more. Matt.
Kelly, the UN Secretary General is calling this report a survival guide for humanity, underscoring what's at stake if more is not done to address climate change quicker. The UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change says what we do in this decade will have impacts for thousands of years.
A final warning before we cross into a dangerous new world.
Humanity is on thin ice, and that ice is melting fast.
We are walking when we should be sprinting.
Action to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and adapt to the impacts of climate change is more urgent than previously assessed.
We will, in all probability, reach around 1.5 degrees early next decade.
A key target of the 2015 Paris Climate Accord was to keep the global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius of pre-industrial levels. But we're already at 1.1 and on track to hit that 1.5 mark sometime between 2030 and 2035.
The rate of temperature rise in the last half century is the highest in 2,000 years. Concentrations of carbon dioxide are at their highest in at least 2 million years. The climate time bomb is ticking.
Beyond a 1.5 degree rise, scientists say people won't be able to adapt to increasingly extreme climate disasters. There will be irrevocable changes to the Earth, and millions will die due to heat waves, famines, and disease.
I'm personally extremely concerned for my kids.
David Pearson is an earth sciences professor and climate change expert at Laurentian University.
The future, when we've warmed that much, will be a very, very difficult future. The billion-dollar flood that happens once every 50 years is going to happen every 20 years.
We have more intense rainfalls. We have more flooding events.
Altaf Aren, the director of McMaster University's Center for Climate Change, says we are already seeing the kinds of extreme events that will become more common as the temperature rises.
Pakistan was the one big example with very major flooding. So the Europe had also major flooding. So these things are happening.
But our planet's top climate scientists say it's not too late to keep global warming to about 1.5 degrees Celsius instead of allowing it to get even hotter.
Emissions will need to be cut by almost half by 2030.
They're calling on rich countries to eliminate coal by 2030 and gas-fired electricity by 2035, and to move to net zero emissions by 2040. A full decade sooner than the previous goal.
Our world needs climate action on all fronts, everything, everywhere, all at once.
It's not the first dire climate change warning, but our Trending Now experts believe this one may make a difference.
We have the capabilities, we have technologies, we have the financial capacity, so all we need is a will.
I think that people have begun to hear enough. They're beginning to realize that it's real.
Both our experts say that it will now be up to the policymakers to use this report to get the traction in order to make the changes necessary before it's too late.